So based on this structure of how do I write a policy brief, it is also an important question to ask yourself, what are suitable topics for a policy brief? And I don't mean only for an assignment, but also in general. First of all, it is important to have a current reference to a topic. Even if you're an expert on a specific area and you have a very strong opinion on the topic, it is easier for you to reach your target audience if the topic is already on the agenda. For example, due to elections in a country, if you're writing a paper on Lebanon, which is maybe not such a strong topic in Germany, for example, it helps to publish it around elections in that country, because that means that the topic is a little bit more on the agenda also in your target audience. Other possible events that you can relate your policy brief to are summits like the Riga summit, where you can either make recommendations beforehand, which can then feed into the debate at a summit, but also anniversaries. For example, 50 years of German-Israeli relations that we are celebrating this year. Concerning the recommendations that have already been mentioned several times, these are the most important and sometimes also the most difficult part. So when writing the recommendations, it's important to clearly identify which options will be recommended and which options will be discounted in the case if you give alternative developments. It is important to clearly lay out the argument for why that option is better than each of the others and why your options are ideal to improve the policy. This, of course, again, is based on your assumptions on how a policy should look. So, and how you want relationships, for example, with the Eastern Partnership countries to develop, which also enables the reader of your paper to see if they are coming from the same starting point and have similar assumptions, or whether they will, in that case, discard your argument because they have different underlying assumptions on how the policy should be shaped. The recommendations should be as detailed as possible. They can even go down to a very micro level on how this implementation can work, on how specific working groups could be implemented. For example, we are suggesting that the countries that are currently implementing the association agreements meet in working groups of the government offices that are relevant and important for this implementation, and that they can do an exchange of their best practices. So it's not a very general recommendation on the policy should be improved, for example. This is obvious. That's why I'm writing the policy brief, and that's why I'm giving out recommendations. It is ideal if the recommendations also give specific steps on how this change can be brought about and when would be a suitable time to do so. So if you have written a policy brief and you have based it on an informed analysis of the current situation, and you have shown that your arguments take into consideration the restrictions that might have an influence on the policy that you are dealing with, this is how you can convince a politician of your informed position on any given policy area that you would like.